I'm going to run through a quick demo on how to create graphics in Flash without having to draw them. I had a question from a student about creating backgrounds and whether or not you guys can use them from the internet. Of course, as students you have some limited protection from copyright law, but I don't think it's a good idea to develop bad habits and use images from the internet for your projects. So I suggested to her that we could possibly use a photograph as a background, mixing the real with the created is sometimes a common theme in animation. And then the other option I had is to create bitmap artwork from a photograph, so that the photograph then looks a little bit more stylized, like it is intended to be in Flash. And I just wanted to go through how to do that really quickly to give you guys some help with this. So I'm just going to create a ActionScript 3 file. For this photograph, I'm actually going to crop it to the correct size because that will make it easier. If you bring in a huge photograph, our cameras capture these enormous images. It could actually cause some memory issues. So I'm going to go ahead and size the photograph appropriately for the stage. The stage is 550 by 400 pixels. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Photoshop. This is the image I'm going to use. It just so happens that I had a photograph of a barn and a spider. The student's doing the itsy bitsy spider. So I'm going to put in 550 for my width, not 5,509. Oh, and not inches, excuse me. Pixels. And 400. And the resolution really doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to go ahead and crop what I want. In this case, I'm just going to get some of that barnwood and the spider web. Okay, that's fine. And now file, save as. I'm just going to save to desktop. That's good enough. Okay, now I'll jump back into Flash, and I'm going to import that image. And I'm going to import it to the library. It's on the desktop, so I'm just going to scroll down to find it. There it is, Barn 14. And there it is in my library now. Now I can drag that to the stage, and it's the right size. Now you can bring in images of other sizes, but it can be problematic as far as making them fit the way you'd like them to fit. The transformation tool for photographs in Flash is not as fantastic as some of the transformation tools we have in other programs. So it's just easier to bring in the graphics at the correct size. Okay, so now I have the graphic on the stage, and I want to actually change that graphic into a bitmap and make it stylized a little bit like it's a graphic as opposed to a photograph. To do that, I'm going to go to Modify, Bitmap, and I'm going to trace the bitmap. And then I have some options. I can tell it what my color threshold is, how accurate we want the color to be, how fine an area needs to be in order to be converted. The minimum pixel area is, of course, the minimum number of pixels that the graphic file will create. So if we want to have it appear even more graphic, we may want to increase the pixels. In this case, I have all of these intricate little spider webs, so I'm going to leave that at 8. And then corner threshold, many corners, normal, few corners. So you may want to do few corners. It'll make things look a little more rounded, a little more stylized. Curve fit, pixels, very tight, normal, smooth, very smooth. So again, do you want it to be very close to the original, or do you want it to stylize and look a little bit, different off? I'm going to do, I don't want to go away from corners because I'm doing a spiderweb here, but maybe I'll smooth it out a little bit more. Now I can preview it and get a look at what it is going to be. So you can see, obviously, much different situation now. Do very smooth, preview that, and took even more of the detail away. Very tight, preview. Get a little bit more detail. I can take my pixel minimum area down, and now I get even more detail. And in this case, we don't necessarily need the spider web. I just thought it was appropriate because we were doing the itsy bitsy spider. So you can see how just playing with this a little bit you can make it a little bit more graphically stylized. Let's do like 20 pixels just for fun. And create backgrounds, some textures and whatnot, more easily than actually having to hand draw these objects. And this, the trace bitmap feature, this is actually a common feature in Adobe products. We also have this in Illustrator. It's called Live Trace. So it's just a method of turning a raster graphic, pixel-based graphic, into a vector graphic, so math-based then. And it gives us a bit more of a graphic feel. Click OK, and then it completes it. Now, you can actually break it apart if you'd like. So you can manipulate these after you're done. You can change the colors on them when you're done, whatever you'd like to do with them. So it's a pretty robust tool. Typically, after you're done, you need to either make sure that it's on its own layer and work above it, or turn it into a symbol. So select the whole thing, right-click, tell you want to convert to a symbol. Barnwood. So that it makes editing easier. If you had the bitmap, the traced version just available to be edited there, it could actually be a pain in the keister to edit.